What's up, guys? It is JZNES back again with another video. Today we're playing Medieval on PS4 there, or reviewing rather. I know, it's not as funny when I intentionally do the meme, but I'm doing it anyway. So, fuck it. Alright. So, yeah. We're talking Medieval on PS4 here. Now, this was a PS1 game, and a lot of people don't know this was actually a PSP game as well, called Medieval Resurrections. This game has actually been remade twice now, and I believe you can also get it on the PSN there, which I don't actually need to do, because cool thing about the PS4 version, the PS1 version is actually hidden unlockable in the PS4 version. There's a side quest that you get near the end of the game, like one of the only side quests. They didn't really change a lot about the game other than graphically, and they changed a few of the rewards in the Hall of Heroes just to make it a little more challenging or less challenging or whatever you want to call it. I think more challenging because you actually have to get all of the chalices to get the final life vial, rather than getting it on the 19th chalice and just getting a bunch of energy vials to refill the life vials as your reward for the 20th one, which feels a little underwhelming. And I believe I remember doing that on the PSP version. Actually, it's funny because they show the fucking pumpkin boss on the back. I should remember to talk about that. What else do they show on the back here? I don't even remember that part. But anyway, they have actually taken elements of this game, which actually, I guess, had extra content. So I guess this has all of the content of this game, aside from the sidekick Jar Jar Binks character, or whatever. He wasn't actually Jar Jar Binks, but I saw a review that compared him to Jar Jar Binks. I don't barely remember him from this version. I actually made it all the way to the end of the PSP version and couldn't beat Zarok, the final boss, who I always thought as a kid was a girl, or a lady, a female, a woman at that, but was actually a man this whole time. So, I don't know. They did a lot more to make him more manly in this version of the game, but when I played the demo back in the day, and that's how I first experienced Medieval, it says right there, Medieval. You can see on the back the little screenshot of him with the golden shield and the axe there, which is, there's no way you could get that in that demo, by the way, as far as I know. Maybe there's some Metal Gear Solid level, like, little hidden stuff there, but, yeah. I originally experienced this game on this demo disc back in the day, and I would play this demo over and over and over again. It was the first few levels of the game, so pretty expansive demo. Actually, they gave you a lot of meat on your demos back then. And a lot of games. Some games didn't have that robust of demos. I mean, like Tekken 3, you could play as Eddie Gordo and like one other character. I think it was the Asian lady with Bear, or whatever the fuck the panda's name was. Is his name just Bear or something? Or Kuma, wasn't that it? Well, Kuma was one of them, and then there was like the other one was just like Bear or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, like back in the day. So thank you, Pizza Hut, for also introducing me to this video sponsored by Pizza Hut and Ice Mountain Water. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I'd like to be sponsored by either of you guys, though. If you ever, I could even throw Audible in there somehow. I don't know. I'll sell out. No, I'm just kidding. It's all right. Not selling out. You know, we're not at that big right yet. But anyway, so I played this on so Pizza Hut is responsible for also introducing me to Medieval of all games. Like, I would have never known about this game without this Pizza Hut demo disc. And like I said, I played those first few levels. It's up to the level with the hill, with the rolling rocks and all that. Rolling rock, like I'm fucking AVGN or something. The rolling rocks that go down the hill, and I remember that as a kid, like being really distinctive. Actually, fuck, I remember playing this game like a long time ago and telling people about it and shit. Yeah, like I actually, this was a game that I played the demo of like a lot, like maybe on par, comparable with the amount of times I played like the Metal Gear Solid demo, and probably not the Tomba demo, because that's maybe the one that I played the most, despite what I said in the last video. about Metal Gear probably being the most played one. This is cool, actually. I never thought of this, but there was the Tomba video, and then I think, like, what, a few other videos came out or something. And then, but it's like, basically, like, Tomba, Metal Gear, and Medieval are all getting reviewed, like, at the same time, and these are all really nostalgic games, that I played on these demo discs back in the day. It's just kind of funny how that works. Okay, Tomba was like 4 reviews ago, but still, to me it wasn't that long ago, you know. To you guys it was like a month ago or something. But I guess that means it might have been longer ago for me, actually. Maybe not, because I just have these things set up different ways. Hey, it doesn't matter. Point is, reviewing these games all within quick succession of one another is like fitting, because it's, you know, it's cool, because these are all great games, and they're all from my childhood, and they're all games I played, like, very brief versions of until I got the real games, which, for Medieval, I never did get the full game. The closest I got to that was in 2007. I actually had my receipt in the thing. I'm not going to show it, because I think, I don't know, there's some stupid movies on there that we bought or whatever. My brother must have bought, like, the movies or whatever, because I don't remember buying those. But I did pay, like 15 bucks for this back in the day. And, the PSP version is actually, it's decent. It's not terrible. A lot of people think it's really inferior to the PS1 and obviously the PS4 remake, which I would say is probably the best version of the game. That's the way I would play it. That way you have 2 analog sticks, and the second analog stick actually works really well as a camera. It's like pretty much what you'd expect, and I assume the PS1 version doesn't, you know, control as precisely as that or whatever. And everything just controls fairly well. The only trouble about this game is that it is old school, and if you're down with the old school and difficult games like those NES games, I'm pointing at my NES collection, by the way, not that you can see that over there, but that's where it's at. If you're down with that kind of stuff, no checkpoints, you do the level in one go, you know, you got essentially extra lives through your life files. As long as those are filled up, you're gonna have a few times of falling off cliffs and whatever. Every time you fall off a cliff, though, you lose one of those, so it's almost like an extra life at that point. And that's the closest you come to kind of lives or continue system. But if you lose all those vials, you're done for, and that's game over. And you have to actively look to and complete tasks and get chalices and stuff, which means 100% basically completing a level, killing a bunch of enemies, and then going and finding this chalice, which isn't always very easy, and for some levels it's fucking near impossible. But I mean, it's not like super, super hard, but they've always got the chalice either well hidden, or it's just far enough back to where you'll have to backtrack to where you might still die and then have to do the whole level again, which is very frustrating. Okay, I was talking to somebody about work about this like a month ago, but I don't generally get very mad at things anymore, but it takes a game like Medieval on the PS4 with where they didn't even like remake. They kept the difficulty of this game intact. They didn't sugarcoat it. This was how hard the game was back then. Probably harder back then, but still. This is about comparable to what it was, and I remember this version being all the same bullshit difficulty with only one analog stick, so I don't know how the fuck I managed that, but yeah. So all of that they've taken and kept, you know, this is all here, you know, this difficulty, starting over, trying over, this kind of thing. And it's harder than some old school NES games. A lot of NES games like Mega Man 2 and stuff have checkpoints. They let you continue where you left off. You know, okay, if you lose all your lives, you got to go back to the beginning, and you can maybe consider the vial system like a life system, and then you're gonna have to go back to the beginning of the level. All right, I get it, cool. But I'm just saying, this is like old school, brutal, difficult. You know, I'm used to playing baby games now, like easy fucking games where, oh, you lost your life. Oh, no big deal. Just go back just a little ways. We'll just, no big deal, guy. Like, it's all good. We're gonna hold your hand. Hey, do you want a Tanuki suit that'll get you through the whole level? Oh, fucking go for it, my friend. You did so good. Yeah. This is like, fuck you. fuck you, dude. You want to get through this level, you're going to have to try harder. You're going to have to get around our bullshit platforms on the ghost level that, like, lower you into a hole where you're going to have to go through a whole section where there's these cannonballs coming at you and it's going to break all of your shields until you just die. Fuck you, you know? That's a real thing. And that part was hard because every time I'd fall, they placed the pits everywhere, and it didn't just kill you, it would send you into a part of the level that would actively prolong your dying, you know? It's almost like torture. It's like, we're not just gonna kill you, man. We're gonna fucking prolong this shit. You're gonna feel the pain and the suffering and the fear and the sorrow of this. I'm just making Metal Gear 3 references now, but they're like, you're gonna feel this shit, man. You have to go through the level. You want to restart the level? Go for it, man. You're gonna have to go all the way fucking back, you know. And so yeah, this game doesn't fuck around. It doesn't hold your hand. It's difficult. It's brutal, old school. That was what I was trying to get at. Is a lot of the level design, like in the crystal caves and stuff, there'll be these like skinny ass paths that you have to like just edge along while enemies they're coming at you. No fucking full fucking force, you know, and shit, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like what the fuck? And there's just pits everywhere. There's fucking this lake level where the same shit, just narrow paths, and there's like these fucking guys that like swing across the thing, and these like fish that like, you know, they like come up to knock you into the water or whatever. On the time warp level, there's like these swinging pendulum guys that fucking fuck your shit up and stuff. It's all sorts of obstacles and challenges and whatnot. And what I found funny was on that same level, the time warp level or whatever, which I definitely remember being a lot longer in the PSP version and there being more to that level or something. But that might just be like some Mandela effect shit. I remember Zarok being a lot fucking harder, too. But he was a pussy. It only took me 2 tries in this version, and I actually got him down. No, maybe this version's a little bit easier or something. I don't know. But in the PSP version, God, I remember this being like one of the fucking hardest bosses I've ever faced. Maybe that's just because I didn't 100% that version. Because it's a tougher version of the game or something. Just because you have, like, lesser controls and, I guess, lesser camera control. Because I don't know how you navigate that with the analog stick, only having one analog stick. So yeah, I don't know how that works. But anyway, so but I remember I'm going all over the place. I remember in the demo, when you beat the demo, I actually remember my friend, one of my friends had a different demo disc that had like an even longer demo where you got to go into the level after the rock things, like the mausoleum or whatever that is. I don't know if that is what it is, but it's like you're in a church or whatever. You get to go through that level as well. So that was interesting. I also remember that. Yeah, so what was I say? So the level design can be a bit bullshit at times, but and it's frustrating in some regards, but it's almost fair enough because the levels aren't like super long, but also they're not short either, but they're like the perfect amount of balance to where it's like, can I really be mad about getting to the end of this and then dying? Now in a few instances I can say yes. There's a level that's kind of a hidden level that you need a thing to give to a person to go. You get shrunk down to the size of an ant, and you have to go fight this ant. And the final ant queen of that is a really difficult boss. You'd have to do this whole part again and again and again and again. That was a little bit tedious, but also I can only blame myself for that one because I did that super early on when I had like 2 vials or something. I could have came back way later and done that, and that would have been probably a lot easier. And in fact, that's what they did on the walkthrough that I watched on YouTube. I didn't watch the walkthrough for much, but I just kind of needed it for a few parts. Like, on the time warp level, I didn't understand how to progress. And pro tip, okay, and I think I had the same fucking problem with the Resurrection version, the PSP version there. Pro tip, on the Time Warp level, how you get higher is by jumping on the brain things. Well, okay, that sounds pretty easy, right? Oh, okay, whatever, you're just dumb, John. No, it's not that easy, alright? Because you jump, and you're like, what the fuck? I'm not going any higher. I'm not bouncing higher. Well, you know what it is? You hold the button. You hold the button. Hold it. Hold that X button. And you'll go higher. Now, you know, gargoyles around the levels, they tell you things, they fill out the lore and whatnot, and that's cool, that's all good, you know, good for them. There's little books that fill a lot out too, and there's a lot of lore in the game, it's cool, it's very well told story-wise, it's, you know, it's not no deep story or nothing, but it's like, it's got good characters, the Hall of the Hero characters and whatnot. Your character has a lot of backstory to what he did. He defeated Xerox the first time, and now everyone's making fun of him because he's like this undead guy who got killed by freak arrow at the beginning of the battle or whatever. It's just, it's funny, and actually the ending is nice too. Spoilers for Medieval. It's not a Metal Gear story, don't worry. But it's a nice ending because he goes back to his crypt and he just looks at it and he's like, he looks up at his little stained wall painting there, or stained glass painting thing, or stained glass, you know what I mean, his window. And he's like, oh yeah, look what I've accomplished. And then he lays down, and then you see him in the Hall of Heroes, and you're like, oh shit, well, great. And everyone's cheering for him, and it's great, you know, and that's satisfying. Like, I couldn't have imagined a better ending. That's fantastic. You defeat Xerox, that's good too. Never played the sequel, by the way, but apparently in the beginning of the sequel, you see him defeating Xerox with spears, which is actually a pretty good weapon to defeat Xerox with. So, pro tip, on the final part of Xerox, use spears. So there's that. But, yeah. So, what was I getting at? But, the level design can be a little, a little tricky or a little trolly at times, you know? It can troll you, in a way. So, you know, they knew what they were doing. They were making this game hard, an old school hard. And, maybe that's kind of why it didn't really catch on, is because it was too hard for the time, but I mean, there were a lot of hard games around that time, so I don't know, maybe, I just don't think it had the following that it needed, but it was kind of a cult game, and I'm glad it got remade so many times, you know, to kind of get its light, again, and a third game would be fantastic, even though I've never played the second game, and it's not on PSN as far as I know. I looked it up and it didn't look like it was, so the only way to do that is a physical version, and those two physical versions aren't exactly the most cheap game anymore. Actually, they're not on par with Tomba, but they're like a little bit less than Tomba, but still it's a very similar situation where they definitely, you know, went up in value over time. I don't know if I've ever seen this game out in the wild either. I mean, I haven't really been looking, but, you know, I don't even think I've seen the sequel out there either. I mean, the sequel's probably a little bit harder to find too. Then again, a lot of games from my childhood like that, those, like the first two Tomba games and stuff, I don't really see those that much. I think I've seen Tomba 2 a few times though, so I mean, that's not, you know, anyway, that's a tangent. Yeah, but, so, character and story-wise, it's good. You know, it's basic, but they're good. All the Hall of the Heroes characters are cool. They're all kind of like representative of their thing. They all have like their own weapon that they give you and stuff, and so they each have like their own unique personality. They're all kind of diverse, like around the world kind of people. Like there's one that looks like an African lady. There's a centaur guy. There's like a Scottish guy, and like, you know, all sorts of stuff. There's one guy who's like, he's got a shield, and the other, like a really big shield that he gives you, and the other guy's got like this really big sword, and they like kind of roast each other. They're like, oh, don't let him tell you that swords aren't important. Don't let him tell you that shields aren't important. So there's a lot of humor in this game too. That's another cool thing. I think what I was getting at with that was there's a lot of lore around it, and the gargoyles. There's these gargoyles kind of like all over like levels and stuff that'll just like give you shit all the time, and then half the time they'll tell you like little interesting lore bits, or they'll tell you, oh yeah, this guy is like weak to this and stuff, and there's books everywhere that kind of tell you similar stuff. So that's pretty cool. And there's a lot of like optional, like little, not like optional, but they're like kind of little side things that you kind of like. If you don't get these 2 dragon gems, you can't go and fight this dragon to get the dragon armor. It's kind of, it's not like hidden, but it's like kind of well to the side. If you like don't, if you didn't do all the things leading up to that, you can totally just skip that and then probably get to the final boss still. But the dragon armor is really helpful, so I definitely would recommend getting it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't need it though, is what I'm trying to say. As far as I know, you don't need it. But I got it anyway, so that was cool. But yeah, bosses like that. The bosses are pretty cool, I would say, for sure. Definitely unique, and all of them kind of have their own weakness, and you kind of have to figure it out and just figure out what's the most effective way to take them down. Like the dragon, you think like okay, cool. Like, what do I do? You hit him with the sword or something. No, you just like, there's like hanging. What are they? Stalactites or stalagmites? What's the difference between those? Comment below if you know what the difference is. But they fall onto him depending on where you hit with the hammer. And what's cool is the hammer is a Hall of Heroes item. And you only need like 3 or 4 chalices to even get it. But they always leave you the club, or they leave you like a chest where you can get a club or similar items like that in whatever scenario you need them, in case you didn't get that. So, or in case you're just doing like a minimalist run or something. Like that's, that's cool that they always leave that option for you. Now, granted, there's bosses like the ship captain on the ship, on the ghost ship or whatever, that are a lot easier if you just have the dragon armor and can spew fire, and you don't have to like go up and like get the fire from his little torches or whatever with your club. And then at one point it starts raining, so I don't know how you do that without the dragon armor, but I think I did that in the PSP version. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did get the dragon armor in the PSP version too, but it's a long time ago. It's a blur. I got this in like 2007 was my point about talking about this. And I remember playing it for a few years and really never getting to the end. I mean, I got to the very end, the very last boss, and I just couldn't beat the 3rd form, the Zarok form of the PSP version. So I just kind of gave up and never beat it as far as I remember. But I'm glad now that I've beaten this version because this is a much better version. So the Hall of Heroes guys give you a lot of different weapons and a lot of different variants to your sword, and upgrade all your gear. You get like a hammer, you get like crossbows and like long bows, and the one guy gives you magic bow and flaming bow and this stuff. The centaur guy is like kind of the bow guy. The shield guy gives you a golden shield, which has like 400 damage it can take versus the like 250 and like 150 of the other shields and stuff. The you get this like magic lightning, which I never used because I hear it's kind of just broken in terms of like it'll just like destroy anything, and I was always just kind of saving it. It's like that meme. So you saved all your elixirs for the final boss, and now you beat him or whatever. I was thinking about using the lightning on the final boss, but I'm like, no, you know what? Fuck this. If I can't beat this PSP version, and I can't beat this version without the lightning or whatever, and I can never even beat the PSP version. I remember I had the lightning, I couldn't beat that one. But if I can't beat it without the lightning, then fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be hardcore about it, and I ended up doing it, which is cool. But yeah, so there's that, and then what else is there? I'm trying to think of all the weapons that are there. The dragon armor can spew fire, like I was saying earlier, and it protects you from fire, so that's cool. The spear, which is what I was mentioning earlier, that they used in the cutscene at the beginning of Medieval 2, as far as I know, that's what the guide said. So that apparently there's a reference to that in Medieval 2. You killing Zarok with the spear. So that's the way I did it. So pro tip, use the spear. It's good. And then there's a cool system where there's these gargoyle heads that you'll find sometimes that are like a shop basically, and there's these imps that can like steal your weapons and stuff. And I only ever had it happen to me once, like at the very end of the game, where he stole my magic sword, and I had to buy it back for like 2,000 gold, which is a lot in this game. You get gold like everywhere, and you can even farm gold if you want. Like just go back through the first level and just farm gold and healing items and stuff, which I do recommend doing. Going back through that first level and getting healing items, or wherever you find the healing items to be the easiest to get, because you got to fill up your vials again and stuff. And like some people might find that kind of tedious, but like, dude, I played Rayman 1 on PS1, where I went back through the first level a billion times to like fucking grind 100 lives every time, every level. And there's probably like, what, 50 levels in that game? Or whatever the fuck. So I don't want to hear about how, oh, it's too hard for me to go back through the first level, or the first level, which takes like a minute tops, like, to farm health or whatever. Like, fuck you. You don't understand, alright? I know I could use the lives code on Rayman, but I didn't know that back in the day. Okay? Sorry. Fuck you. I did it the hard way. I'm proud of it. It's the hardest game I ever fucking beat. PS1 games were hard, damn it. Fucking... You got your... soft ass... Was the Ratchet and Clank joke from fucking... HVGN or whatever. It doesn't matter. So... Yeah, games were hard back in the day, man. This is hard, you know? It's not that hard. Medieval's not that hard. It is pretty hard. I mean, semi-hard. It didn't take me that long. It only took me, like, maybe 10 or so hours to beat fully, so... And I 100%ed the game, other than getting those lost souls or whatever for the medieval, port, I guess you would call it, which I can do some other time. Basically, like in the third to last level or something, you get this thing, and it's like, oh, you can go back through all the levels again and like find these lost souls. And I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I already went through those levels a million times trying to get the chalices. I think I'm good. If I ever feel like going back to the game, like, okay, but not right now. I'm okay. I don't need the original version that bad, and if I wanted to play that someday, I'll unlock it then, you know? I'm okay for now. But, yeah, so there's a lot of good weapon variety, and buying them extra ammo and stuff from the merchant is pretty cool. And you can actually buy more lightning in this version, unlike the PS1 version. And I don't even know if you could do that in the PSP version. So there you go. That's cool. So you can just run through the whole game and lightning everyone, and it'd be fucking awesome, or whatever. But yeah, it's just fun to have a variety of weapons. Oh, there's like an axe, like I mentioned earlier. I never really used that much, but the sword was always better because it has better range. And also what's cool is, so there's a sword, there's, you know, all these weapons also have a secondary attack, which I didn't really use that much, where you like charge them up and then like shoot them. Like with the magic bow, I don't know what that would have done, but it probably would have been better. I don't know, but like pretty much most of the time I hit anything with that, it was like a one-hit kill, so like I'm just okay with that, you know. And there's like, oh, so like I was saying earlier, there's like vials and just like hidden collectibles throughout the level like that. Gold and stuff that's just kind of little hidden secret alcoves and stuff. So it's just fun to explore the levels. There's like a key system with these runes that you find to kind of progress, sort of like a Doom sort of thing, where you'll get through part of the level, you'll find this key, and then you'll be able to use that to progress to the next part of the level. So that's pretty cool. All the levels are pretty linear. There's not like really a non-linear progression kind of thing, but I don't mind that. There's slight exploration elements to some levels, but to find all the secrets, you're gonna have to explore a little bit and kind of use your brain to figure out like, okay, how do I get to this thing and that thing, and you know, it's pretty cool. So yeah, And there's like a lot of hidden little things. That's what I was getting at. There's just kind of some secrets around and extra ways to get to different levels and stuff. Like to find the entrance to the Dragon Cave, you kind of have to go this back way on this the lake level or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's fun. There's a lot of like enemy variety and stuff. For the most part, this is just like a pretty standard like hack and slash kind of gameplay. I guess think something like God of War, like a proto that, you know, like earlier version of that or something. If you could do it on PS1, you know what I mean? With all the quick time event cutscenes or whatever. Is that what God of War has? I don't know. Somebody was talking about God of War earlier. But so stuff like that, where you just kind of slash through dudes and you know progress and it's not the easiest, but it's not the hardest either. You can get good at it, especially if you use your shield more than I did because I didn't use it very often. Only when I really essentially needed it. So yeah. So good weapon variety, like I said. There's a good balance of that. That makes the gameplay engaging because you kind of get to use all of the weapons at a lot of points. Certain weapons will be more optimal than others. And you're always kind of struggling to maintain all of your life and your health. So you have to you have to really get good and optimize your run through levels and stuff to kind of make it and progress and whatnot, which is pretty cool. And especially if you want to get the chalice, you got to pretty much find all of the enemies in a level. Not all of them, but like a good majority of them, like probably 80 to 90% of them you'll have to find. And especially on levels like the ship level, there's a lot of like hidden captains. The captains control the littler guys who don't count towards the chalice percentage. Which basically, that's how it works. You kill enough enemies and you can get this chalice, and then you go to the Hall of Heroes. And depending on how many of those you get, I think of them like stars or like a collectible in a platformer game. And depending on how many of them you can get extra weapons and rewards and gold and extra energy vials and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So there's that. There's the Lost Souls. There's collectibles. There's just there's a lot to do. But it's a short experience, but also there's enough meat there that'll keep you going for a while, especially if you're not very skilled with these kind of games. You'll be at it for a while, for sure. So that's cool. I guess the last thing I kind of want to, well, two last things. I gotta start out the music too. The one thing I wanted to go over was the atmosphere of the game. This is, I know, I'm sorry, I'm a little late on the Halloween thing, but I definitely just needed to play this anyway because I've really wanted to for a long time now. The atmosphere in the game is very unique, and it just has a very distinctive horror feel to it, but also it's just like, it's like everything that's Halloween about it, There's like the pumpkin boss like I was showing off, and like just like skeleton and zombie enemies, just you feel very Halloween centric when you play this game. It's just, that's how the game feels. It has that horror aesthetic to it, and it's a very unique aesthetic to this game, and it's something I've always really appreciated about it. It has a very strong and resonant uniqueness about its aesthetic. Like, not a lot of games on PS1 look like this, and actually look as good as the PS1 version of this game did. Oh, that was something I was going to mention about the demo, is like, after you beat it, it would show you little previews of other levels in the game, and it'd always be like, oh man, that looks so cool with these ants and like this other thing, and like, I don't even remember most of what it showed. I just remember the part with the ants, and I'm like, that kind of looks pretty awesome. I'd love to play this game or whatever, but never got around to it back then. But anyway, so the aesthetic of the game is just really strong, and it's unique and vibrant, but also it like it uses its colors very well, but also it has a dark aesthetic, you know, um, like I said, horror and whatnot, and the music really amplifies that. So yeah, I just think that's really really cool. Basically, yeah. So, but sorry, I was just looking to see what track we're even on, but there's some very distinctive tracks in this game, like the first few levels, and then like the map screen music, and like some of the boss music and stuff is like really stands out, and I can like remember this, you know. It's almost nostalgic in a way, but I remember it from back in the day. Um, so I think the music stands also really strong for this game. And the gameplay holds up pretty well, I would say. Um, Despite some minor platforming stuff and like the thin level design sometime, that you know that troll stuff, I would say it still is very good. So, yeah, I mean, and just Sir Daniel Fortescue is such a like unique character, and it's such a good character design too. It's just like I don't know, man. Like I just looking at him, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, like it's a bit nostalgic just because of that demo. Like, but he's just got such a cool design, you know. Like even though he's the skeleton man, he deals with it. And he's all good, and there's a lot of great humor to the game. It's a really good game, you know. Overall. So, and I definitely recommend it, regardless of which version you have. I'm pretty sure that the PS1 version is on PSN, but this game is like pretty cheap now, actually. So if you have a PS4, you might as well get this one because you also get the PS1 version in a sense if you really think about it, uh, as an unlockable. So either way, you're making out good there. I don't really recommend the PSP version here. I know that it's an okay version. It's not bad like everyone says it is. It's fine, but I can't imagine that it controls as good as the PS4 version just because of the one analog stick. Mostly the camera. And I would say that camera control is actually really important to this game. Um, Thus, I would recommend playing the PS4 version if you have access to that. So, yeah. So just like what I was trying to say about the music and the atmosphere and the levels, they all kind of come together to create this unique atmosphere and tone and a distinctly horror, Halloween-y kind of setting that definitely is very unique. And I really appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I don't know, just that's what I gotta say about Medieval, because it's great, and I have a lot of good memories with the demo disc. Definitely played the shit out of that back in the day. I always loved playing that. And I'm glad that I finally got to experience the whole game, you know. It really... It feels like I've definitely... I had like a really, like, yeah, you know, fucking gamer moment when I beat Xerox, because it's like... This is like 13 years in the making from this one, but also 23 years in the making from this one, you know, of trying to beat the game. So, yeah, it's good, and I'm really happy with that. And I took some like photos with my phone of my statue in the Hall of Heroes complete. You know, once you get all the chalices, it like fills in, and then you're there. They're like, oh, welcome, you're part of the Hall of Heroes now, and you see all the chalices lined up on the table there. That's just really satisfying to me, that kind of stuff. But I definitely would recommend playing this game, and even 100%ing the game in terms of getting all the chalices and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do all the Lost Souls stuff unless you want to really play the PS1 version. I'm going to do that at some point. I got to get moving on games right now because I only have games up until next week, I think. So this one just kind of fills in for this, and then I'm gonna have to play something else. So anyway, yeah. But I had a lot of fun playing it. I actually kind of wish I would have gotten to this around Halloween time because it would have been pretty perfect. But I'm glad I got to those other games too, so no big deal. I'm just glad I got to it in general, you know, because it is a fun game. There are some frustrating moments in terms of difficulty and whatnot, but I powered through and I said, you know what, fuck it, because I like this game enough to give it the time to push through it and really rise above the challenge and whatnot. So yeah, so like I said, I think everything just kind of comes together into a really unique experience and package there. And I'm going to give the game a 9 out of 10. Or sorry, no, well, you know what, fuck it. It's getting a 9 out of 10 because I just said it is, so fuck it. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a good game, and I would recommend the PS4 version, especially. I don't know how well the camera stuff works on the PS1 version. I know that they have some extra difficulty stuff on the PS1 version in terms of, like, you only get the lightning once and this and that. There's a few things like that, you know, where some things are just kind of harder on the PS1 version. So, but that version is also a very nostalgic version to play. I'd be interested in going back and doing that one at some point. But, and also the second game, if I can ever get my hands on that. I don't know when or how I'll get my hands on that, but I'll have to plan for getting that at some point because I'd like to see how that progresses, you know? And like I said, they definitely should make like a third game of this. Maybe remaster the second game as well, or remake or whatever. Second game as well. I guess that's something I didn't really talk about is this game doesn't really add a whole bunch or anything, but it's a really nice graphical uptouch to the PS1 game. Obviously, they redid all of the graphics and stuff, but the game looks nice is my point. So looks really good. So yeah, I'm happy with that. This is like the definitive version of the game. Definitely play it. It's like $15 now on eBay, so I mean, I'm sure you can get it cheaper. I don't know, maybe even GameStop has it cheaper or something. I haven't been to GameStop in like a minute, you know, like a fucking hot minute, so go and check out your GameStop before it's gone. See if you can get Medievils for cheap. So, yeah, anyways, this has been JZNES saying keep it classic, stick around for more reviews, underrated games, and I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ